Life is hard. We all know that. Money is harder. I can only stretch it so far.
Do you even know how much we spend a week on groceries?
Too much. That's how much.
Have you ever looked at your paycheck and thought, am I out here making financial miracles happen every single day? Because same. Today, we're talking about living on $50K a year, what it really looks like, and how it compares to the ever elusive middle class, and whether we're thriving, surviving, or just trying to keep the Wi-Fi on long enough to stream our comfort shows. So today's episode was inspired by a Charles Parola poll. Could you live on $50K a year? One of the first comments I saw stated, it depends on your geographical location. Totally, wholeheartedly agree. I live in the Midwest and could do $50K per person, but I have a family of 5. So if I was a single lone wolf, of course I can make it work. I want to know, could you and your family live off of $50K? Comment below. You have tons of content creators that will break down the average home prices of this and that statistical data here type thing. I suggest creator Freddie Smith, but I'm so fortunate that you are here with me and my opinion and a light Google search or two. So my opinion is that I think, wowie, $50K in today's shitty economy for a family. Ugh. I am currently a homemaker. Not sure if I can call myself a stay-at-home mom because my kids are mostly teenagers, but I am here nonetheless, at home 100% being a stay-at-home wife and being a mom during non-school hours. JK, I really do stuff during the day. Let's go back in time about 12 years ago when I was a stay-at-home mom for the first time. My husband made around $40K and we were living in Los Angeles. I cannot remember the exact breakdown of our expenses, and time has a way of erasing troubled times from our memory. However, I had just had a brand new baby. It was my last of 3. I had a 2-year-old, and I know we could afford to put her in tots and tutu classes. In that time, we had 2 Hawaii vacations for about 7 days each. And that was over a course of the 3 years. So about every other year. I think our rent for a 2-bedroom, it was like a 4-plex side by side, but it did have like a side yard and a patio, was about $1,300 or $1,400 a month. We had a full washer and dryer, like the full size, not the apartment size, but our appliances were not updated and our furniture was gifted to us. We were not pressured like people are today to have an aesthetically beautiful home, but it was ours and it was very average, but it was a home. We had 2 cars about 5 years old that looked nice and ran well, and we did all this on $40K a year. So we did decide to move to the Midwest because our kids were getting older and we needed more space and the prices were kicking us in the butt. So when we first got settled in the Midwest roughly 10 years ago, I got a job first and that was about $45K, and my hubby got his job a few months later and it was about the same. We did not have everything we wanted, but our motto throughout our marriage has always been that if we could have everything we needed and some of what we wanted, we would be okay. But vacations did stop around this time, and we did have fun exploring our new surroundings and soaking up our new city. So I did do some light research, because Google is free and I know some of y'all love to get in the comments with corrections. So if you want to rumble about stats, let's go. Kidding, kind of, but seriously, I love a good debate. Now, according to the US Census, the median household income for a middle class family as of the date of this posting in the US is $80,610. So that is for a family, but per capita it is $42,289. But here's the kicker. Pew Research says that to be considered middle class, you need to be making between $52K and $98K a year, depending on where you live. And listen, the United States is huge. What feels like balling out in Mississippi can barely be scraping by in California. I consider myself lucky to live in a mid-range state where my money stretches a bit further, but let's be real, cost of living is up everywhere. Eggs went from, oh, I'll grab some to let me check my account first. So where does the money go? Well, we all have different needs and necessities, but one universal one is food. So let's talk about food because listen, I am not big on clothes and cars, but don't mess with my food budget. I am on my Ariana Grande. I want it. I got it when it comes to my grocery cart. According to Motley Fool website, the average family spends about $832 a month on food. And that feels accurate for maybe a family of 4. It says it includes takeout. So if they said it, it must be true, right? Now let's be honest. There's a big difference between spending money on food and wasting money on food. Meal planning is cute and all, but when Friday rolls around and I don't feel like cooking, the Uber Eats button is looking real good. Okay, let's stretch that 50K further. The dream of an annual vacation. The goal is to take at least one big trip a year, somewhere warm, beachy, or maybe Disney if you're feeling fancy. If not a big trip, then at least a couple of long weekend getaways. You know, Friday to Sunday road trips where you drive 3 hours just to eat somewhere new, stay at a hotel with maybe a questionable free breakfast, and then you get to post on Instagram #staycation, you know? It's giving luxury. Or affordable fun, you know? Okay, so let's bring it back to my personal experience. I live in a mid-range state, so while 50K isn't luxury living, it could work. If I had to live on 50K, my biggest priority would be the same as it is now, and that's making sure that my family is good. And honestly, that comes down to budgeting, knowing what's important, and the hard part, knowing what's just not in the budget this month. One of our biggest wake-up calls was when we decided to buy our home. We had to really sit down and map out every single dollar. I always knew where the money was going in general, but breaking it down to this much on groceries, this much on gas, this much on occasional treats, and our girl loves a quick trip run, that was eye-opening. So fast forward to today, we make a little bit more than when we first got here, but everything is so much more expensive. We still are able to provide the necessities, thank you, but it is a stretch to get the things we want or do not need. Luckily, our kids are spoiled with love and not material items, so we don't feel pressured to provide luxuries that are way out of our reach. I think what it comes down to is, what do you value? My family and I value food and experience. Sometimes good food is the experience. It is starting to be really frustrating though in the grocery store right now. I am not gonna lie. We eat a lot less takeout because I'm at home and I cook, but the snacks, baby, I love a good snack. And trying new things. I hate that I have to think maybe twice right now about the things that I'm dropping into the basket. So that's something to consider. So again, I asked the question, is 50K doable? So in my opinion, I think that I'm going to be fine regardless, because I tend to put out good energy in the universe. So in turn, I get good energy back. And even when there are cases where I'm like, oh my God, I have no job. How are we going to do this? Because, life has its ups and downs. We always figure it out, and we have a good community around us with family and loved ones that support us and can give us good ideas. So for me, 50K would be doable. It would be very tight and my snacks would suffer, but I would make it. I want to know about you. What are your thoughts? How much do you need to just get by versus live well? That would be a good question in the comments. Are you cutting back on snacks and things that you want in the grocery store? At the end of the day, middle class is more of a vibe nowadays than a strict income range. It's about making life feel good with what you have, whether that means a well-stocked fridge or a good road trip with a playlist, or just making it to payday without overdrafting. What do y'all think? Let's talk about it. Drop comments below, share your own experience. And I'm a small creator, so I basically comment to everyone. Let's chat.